He calls himself the Pope of Pot.
The alleged mastermind behind an elaborate marijuana sales scheme.
Ran a dial-a-high line.
Police say it is all the work of a man who calls himself the Pope of Pot.
Hi, my name is Clayton Patterson. We're here at the Clayton Gallery in the Outlaw Art Museum. It's been sort of a cultural center for a long time of underground culture.
Word, man.
I came to New York in '79, and actually the first night we were here, I saw somebody get shot across the street. So he went down, and that was kind of welcome to the Lower East Side. In a place like the Lower East Side, you learned about drag queens, you learned about gay people, you learned about people from Wall Street, Soho, the thriving art community. Lower East Side was always a culture center. And certainly a part of that culture that I've sort of dealt with intimately is pot. And one particular person is Mickey Cesar, who is also known as Mickey the Pope of Dope. He was a big guy, Jewish, gay, and really an anarchist type. I mean, he truly believed we should live in an open society and everybody has the right to do whatever it is they want to do. He came from a well-off family, and that wasn't his ambition. His ambition was to get pot out to everybody who wanted it.
Yeah, fucking Pope, Pope's at the back. That's fucking deal with the city right.
The thing that didn't happen down here was organizing within the drug trade. Whereas Mickey really wanted to go major. He was the first person to turn it really into an industry.
Mickey knew me as somebody that could provide weight. I'm Derik Howard, and grew up in New York City. So the first time I met Mickey, I think I went down there with like a half pound of chocolate Thai. He definitely wasn't a gangster or looked anywhere near a gangster type character. He was tall, he was balding, he was older. I remember he was wearing high waters with his socks pulled up. Mickey being Mickey, and as ballsy as he was, he had gotten a phone number that was 1-800-WANT-POT.
Here's how it worked. A customer would just pick up the phone and dial 1-800-WANT-POT.
And it would almost like a bookie place. There'd be like maybe 4 or 5 people in here on telephones, and everybody's taking calls.
They would pick up the phone, they would take the delivery amount, the address, jump on a bicycle, and drive to the address.
Mickey also had this idea that you could buy chips from him, where you'd be in a moneyless society in a way. So if you buy this chip, it's $100, and what you would do in order to get your pot, you'd give the chip, and that would be it. I mean, there were times when he was making $30,000 a weekend. His vision and his ambition opened up the kind of clientele that he could sell to. And the reality is, everybody smokes pot. He probably could have gone on forever with his pot distribution thing, but he was so flamboyant. So he would also go on shows like Howard Stern. Howard Stern was like the magic man of radio at that time. He was one of the biggest radio voices in America. So his idea was to go global, really. And so Mickey would go on there and would do the 1-800-WANT-POT thing. And if anybody wants to buy pot, just call 1-800-WANT-POT, and I got a guy there, and we'll send it to you, and all of that. And it sounded like a good idea, except it wasn't.
He calls himself the Pope of Pot. He admits to selling marijuana because he says he believes in it.
Pot is good for you, dear.
The Pope of Pot, also known as Michael Cesar, was arrested with 5 of his alleged messengers for selling marijuana over the phone.
By that time, I wasn't really working with Mickey, so I just got the phone call that they had gotten raided, check out the news.
The police confiscated about 7 pounds of marijuana at the comic book store headquarters of the operation on Hudson Street.
The plan is such a bold one, it's hard to believe they could get away with it for so long.
It was pushing it so hard in the cops' faces that they had to deal with it.
The police say because of the conspiracy charge, the number he'll be dialing now will be 7 to 15 years.
Yeah, you could say it's foolish, it's crazy, eccentric, stupid. You could call it all of those things. But if you really step back and you look at it, that's the model that almost everybody today follows. Whether it be food, clothing, Amazon, post office, UPS. What Mickey sort of thought about is what's happening now. So he was really just ahead of his time.
Here we have a plant that can save the world.
You know, I call it the Van Gogh syndrome. And a lot of times the people who are the most creative are the ones that stay outside the box because their ideas are too original and they're too far out there to become mainstream.
They tried to kill the Pope, but the Pope smokes dope.
Mickey wasn't about collecting money for himself. I think in the end he was probably broke. But he definitely was a dominant figure. I think it's his time. Yeah, we often name our animals after friends. And this is Mickey, named after Mickey the Pope, the Pope of Dope.
God gave him the grass. The Pope smokes dope. He left his fucking mask. The Pope smokes dope. He's a groovy head down. The Pope smokes dope. The Pope smokes dope. Oh yeah.